Welcome to Brief History Conspiracy Additional.
This week, a topical episode on Jeffrey Epstein.
Fantastic.
Or Epstein, depending on how you think it should be pronounced.
We always have a bit of a meeting before we do these episodes, and half the meeting has been arguing about whether it's Epstein or Epstein. So... If you're new to our channel, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does help us. He was a hedge fund manager, so he moved money around for rich people. That was his job. He had his own private jet, his own private island. He was very good friends with Bill Clinton and Trump, which we're going to intertwine during this conversation. But I'm going to say allegedly a lot in this video.
I'll go with the word allegedly. But...
Yeah, allegedly. So, and because it's quite a relatively small number of people, I think that's when this group or this agreement thing that we're talking about kind of really gained significant power. And before that, it was the royal families in Europe, and the agreements between those is quite. They didn't even really bother hiding it a great deal. So anyway, we've talked about how it would work, and we've talked about how it would potentially be financed. And that's more, I think, what's to do with Epstein than anything else. I think he did know things about Clintons. I think he does know things about Trump.
I think it's probably more what he knows about Trump, given that he's the current president, than what he knew about Clinton, given that he's a former president, that has also had things come out about him already, Clinton.
Yeah, the thing is with Clinton, it looks like potentially there's stuff that would be embarrassing and could end up in prison if he did sleep with underage women. The problem is Trump is a sitting president and he could end up in prison.
Yes.
That is difficult. I actually genuinely believe there would be people within the American government, even if they don't like Trump and they're embarrassed by him, still love what he stands for. It's like our queen sort of thing in America, isn't it? It's the head of everything. And the office of the presidency still means something, even if you're a little embarrassed by the idiot that sat in the chair. There would be elements of the American government that would do anything to protect that office.
Yes.
And that's potentially more where this comes from. If the people that are in charge of this stuff, this head of this sinister group, would be more afraid of Epstein because potentially what he knows about the money and movement of money.
Yes.
This was
how
basically his job.
Money around.
He almost seems like, you know, those like Russian spy movies where you've got the woman that's the law, you know, like the they try to bait the American men, you know, being all pretty. Epstein almost comes across like that to me. That he was almost like the law. He had the money, he had the private island, he had the private jet and things, and he was almost like the hook. And he could get you all the pretty ladies, like Trump said. Oh, he knows a lot of pretty ladies, and they're all on the young side. And he could get you what you wanted. And then once he got you what you wanted, then the group would come in and go, "Hey, you're ours now."
Yeah, quite possibly.
Oh, by the way, that girl you slept with last night, it's only 14. And they're like, even if you had no clue, you know, and you're not a pervert or a paedophile, you're just a man who got stupid, they've got you then, forever. Yes,
quite potentially.
So Epstein, I almost wonder if that he was sort of like this law and again like the money man, and he then got to a position where he found himself in federal prison.
He was the initiator to the billionaire club.
Yeah. That
used to go around finding initiates for their Bohemian Grove visiting Bilderberg group. World agenda, and he was the initiate that got the people in, but also found the people's vices, or so that they had something against those people once they were members, so they could never leave almost.
And I got a quiz for you. I got a quiz question for you. I got two questions for you actually in the next couple of minutes. Right, first one: what do you think the connection between the lawyer that negotiated Epstein's plea deal in 2007 and the current Secretary of Labour have got in common?
Same person?
It's the same person. So it's Alex Acosta was the solicitor who got Epstein a very sweet plea deal in 2007, where even though he was convicted of providing somebody with an underage prostitute, he only actually served 18 months in a very nice prison. And that person is now the Secretary of Labour in Trump's government.
Secretary of Labour.
Secretary of Labour, yeah.
It's interesting when you're thinking about people trafficking and he's now the Secretary of Labour. But
Money,
anyway,
yeah. Well, yeah, talking about moving money around and having the Secretary of Labour is actually quite powerful in lots of respects when you're talking about business, and if you want to manipulate business in different ways, that's the person you want, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Scary coincidence.
Got another quiz for you. Right, so Epstein has a building on his island, right? And there is supposedly underground sections of this, and they call this his temple. I'll show images now. It's a big square building thing. On the corner of this building, above the main door, there is a very large statue. And it's a very large statue of an owl.
Interesting.
What connection do you think that has to what we've just discussed?
Alex Jones's infiltration of Bohemian Grove, worshipping a 40-foot owl, whilst performing mock human sacrifice.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen that, before Alex Jones became a joke, he actually did. His Infowars he actually did some really great work, and he actually snuck onto the Bohemian Grove.
He did, and it's probably one of his best bits of work, actually.
Yeah,
it really did.
And then he started shouting about gay frogs and pushing penis pills a lot. But
I think he just gets a bit too overexcited.
He gets seriously overexcited.
It's like Bill Burr says, you know. I'm quite happy to sit there and listen to somebody talk about conspiracy theories, but when they're doing it in that sort of raised tone of voice at you,
it's like,
I just stop listening.
I think Alex Jones did so with this channel. Even I am sometimes tempted. I've even thought about it. And if we were a bit more radical, if we said, we know this for a fact, and we did that, I am absolutely certain we'd get more subs and more views.
Probably.
I've seen other videos that are far worse than what we produced. They get loads of hundreds of thousands of views by flat earthers and things, and they're talking utter garbage with no understanding for the subject, and they get hundreds of thousands of views. I think Alex Jones had a little bit of that. He had a bit of success, but then he had to keep doing it week in, week out, and he had to keep hitting it. And then he just got carried away, basically. But he had to start seeing the conspiracy in everything.
When you actually go and do the research yourself and look at the executive orders that he's talking about that have been passed, and you look at the new laws that have been given to the president in America, and you look at certain things, and he's not talking rubbish. He
talked about Epstein being a pervert years ago.
Yes.
And a lot of this stuff we're talking about, he was talking about.
Yeah.
Alex Jones says a lot of really sensible stuff, but then he says ridiculous, stupid things.
He's too aggressive, and he's too aggressive. It's like he's trying to ram the information down your throat, though.
The Infowars things,
switch off.
The stuff he was trying to sell through the channel and stuff as well. It just made him look like an idiot. He was saying Viagra tablets and all sorts of things, and it's just made him look like an. That's the problem, is it? There's so much crap. All the good stuff he's done gets washed away.
Yes.
And that's why he's frustrating.
Yes.
He'd lost a lot of his thing. But anyway, years ago, he found out about Bohemian Grove. The only thing I liked about the Bohemian Grove interview was when he went and talked, because there's a village or town nearby, isn't there?
Yes.
And he went and sort of interviewed all the locals, and none of them would say a fucking word.
No, they wouldn't. They work as staff, don't they?
Yeah,
Bohemian
basically.
Grove.
Well, this even though this is they only go there, or supposedly only have this one event a year, don't they, or something? I don't imagine that. I imagine this place is probably used regularly, but then once a year they've got
It's a constant secluded retreat for the rich.
Exactly. They've got their one maybe big group meeting party.
Yeah, one week a year where everybody turns up for a week or two or something.
Yeah,
but
I
then you
imagine
can probably go there through the year with your family and stuff, have a holiday there, and if you're in the Inn Club, I imagine.
But this town basically services the Bohemian Grove facility. This is in the middle of a redwood forest, beautiful area. Nobody would say a word. They wouldn't even talk to him. As soon as they said, "Oh, what goes up there?" they were like, "Well, no, we're not." And they're shutting, slamming doors in their face. They're not going to bite their hand.
They probably get paid well for the jobs they do.
The existence of the town is based on this place. Without that, the town dies. It's as simple as that. And also, they probably know a lot about what goes on, and are terrified. You imagine if you knew what went on in this place, and then somebody started asking you about it, you were thinking, "I don't want to commit suicide." I'm not saying a damn word.
Yeah.
They watch us very carefully, which you know they would.
Yeah, they would.
There would be security forces watching that town and watching the people there and making sure nobody says a damn thing. So yeah, you got this owl connection, which to Epstein again, which is beyond suspicious.
There's also an owl on the $1 bill, isn't there? A really tiny owl up in the top right corner of the $1 bill.
All-seeing eye is not even. They're not even trying to hide that, are they?
Oh, what, the big pyramid with the all-seeing eye above it, and Anno et Coeptis.
They're not even trying to hide the Masonic.
Was it Anno et Coeptis Nova Order Seclorum, which means our enterprise, New World Order, or our successful enterprise, New World Order.
Yeah, that's where New World Order came from, isn't it?
Yeah, and they print that on the banknotes.
Everything we've discussed there, I honestly think Epstein had to die. I think it's been a bit of a rush job.
Yep. Bit slapdash.
I do wonder, because again, he was, from being arrested to dying was just over a month. The organisation, I imagine, probably had to secure a few bits of evidence and make sure that they could kill him before doing it. Because you don't want to kill him and then find out that he's given a load of stuff to, you see in the movies, I've given a bunch of microfilm to my solicitor who has orders to give it out
to release this to the New
as
York Times.
If I'm suicided,
death.
if I commit suicide, then he's going to... Yeah, exactly. So they have to make sure that everything's tied up a nice bow. And then, obviously, getting into a federal penitentiary, you've still got to... There's still be an element of planning involved there. You've still got to get 2 people, guards that you can trust.
Money talks, though. And when you've got people that we're talking about within these elite organisations, elite secret societies that have got more money than governments, it's not hard to pay people off.
It's also not hard to make sure that you don't have to pay people off. You can just simply go, I will ruin you and I will ruin everyone you've ever met.
I reckon they'll pay people off because the money means.
I'm sure they would.
When you're a multi-billionaire, going and giving 3 security guards $500,000 each in an offshore account to fall asleep.
Yeah, but you've always got that. You've got the carrot and then you've got the stick, don't you? You've got the carrot, we'll pay you. Oh, I don't know. We will destroy you.
Yeah, exactly. So they get whatever they want by one method or the other. Yeah.
We can destroy you because all your money's in that bank. We know the people that own that bank. We
can just turn your account off.
Yeah, we can cripple you. I mean, from going back. And the thing is,
you don't exist.
People always
destroy
say
your existence.
People always say, "Oh, it's only money," until they haven't got any. Money is everything. Money is your life and your soul and your family's soul and your kids' lives, and it'd take a very brave person, particularly anybody with kids, to say no and have their morals in that situation. When you actually have somebody stood in front of you with genuine power, and not just I've been threatened many times, but I've been threatened by people that can't do anything. I don't know how I do know how I'd react. If somebody with genuine power turned up and threatened me, I would be like, yes, sir, not a problem, sir. I have children.
Yeah, as would most. And that's probably how they get away with it. So it's remarkable in how many of the whistleblower sort of examples of people whistleblowing on different topics, how many whistleblowers end up dead, generally through suicide.
Or car accidents or heart attacks.
Or car accidents, heart attacks, yes. Situations that could have been orchestrated through murder and made to look like suicides regularly.
It's the easiest way. If I was going to suicide somebody, it would be, well, they would commit suicide. Well, that's quite complicated. It's quite difficult to make somebody look like they've committed suicide. Car accidents, easy. Heart attacks, really easy.
It's not that difficult to make somebody look like they've committed suicide.
It's a little bit complicated. It's a little bit difficult to get right. You've got to know what you're doing.
You've got to know what you're doing, yes.
With a heart attack, it's just the right drug in your arm.
If you a trained assassin, though, or you're a trained black ops, you've got no problem with that. You know what you're doing.
The more complicated something gets, the more... You would want to do this as simple as possible. In this situation, they couldn't heart attack him. They had no history of heart problems. So that would have looked really suspicious if he'd had a heart attack in a prison. Car accident would be difficult.
Inside a prison, yes.
Yeah, he got run over.
Yeah, suicide's pretty much their only option once he's in
Suicide was the only
prisons.
option.
Yeah.
And again, it's a believable option. He's a man that's had everything took off him, he's lost everything.
Mm.
It would be understandable that he would think, oh, this is the end of the line,
Yeah,
end of the road.
highly believable. Yeah.
So it's the only option.
I'm not a believer though in that the level of coincidence that exists within this case. There's just too many coincidences for my liking.
Yeah.
I suspect that it's far more likely that people were paid off and he was murdered than he committed suicide. It's just the law of averages to me. Occam's razor as well.
Yeah.
Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is the right one, and the simplest explanation for it is that I think that it was a planned murder, probably. Yeah.
The amount of people that are really happy this has happened almost makes you think.
High-ranking people that are probably particularly happy that this has happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Literally, the President of the United States is really happy this happened. And very quick.
Maybe not on a personal level. He might have liked him as a friend.
Yeah. But, Trump has actually retweeted some of the rumours about the Clintons.
Has he?
Yeah. So some of the stories that the Clintons a bit, and the death count, Clinton's death count. So the president has retweeted that. He's the president. The first thing I would do is take his damn phone off him if I was even remotely connected to that government. Give me your phone. Just give it me now. Obama never had a phone. I remember I was watching a scene on he did an episode with Bear Grylls. And at one point he said they were on this like mountain thing, and he just goes, "Oh, give me my phone. I want to take a selfie of this." And then Obama's there going, "What's the code? What's the pin?" Because he didn't know it because he wasn't allowed it. The Secret Service wouldn't let him have a phone because it was a security risk. How come Trump's got one? You're a security risk to the entire world, and you tweet about it.
Yep.
Told you before, we're going to find out about aliens because Trump's going to tweet it. We shouldn't find out about attacking Iran through a tweet. That's just ridiculous. That's just insane. Anyway, gone off topic there a little bit.
Yeah, we shouldn't. You're right. We shouldn't. But yeah, it's the world we live in.
So,
I don't think Trump was elected by the people. I think he was chosen. But anyway,
No.
in fact, I think all of the presidents in America, if you look into the history, pretty much all of them, bar a few, were members of the Skull and Crossbones fraternity at Harvard or Yale. They've all been through the same education, the same educational establishments where the elite or the rich send their children. They generally come from that background. They're almost trained for the job from a very early age.
Trump has had at least 20 different accusations of sexual misconduct. He's been accused of raping a 13-year-old girl, allegedly, and there was allegedly a witness that saw the 13-year-old girl have sex with Trump and Epstein on the same evening.
Right.
As part of this John Doe court case that was just before his election. He raped, allegedly, his ex-wife Ivana Trump, who has a gag order against her. He has been sued God knows how many times. He has had a very checkered history. He barely ever tells the truth, and he still got voted in as president. Now, you can argue that's partly because he was going up against Hillary Clinton, and he was just the least hated. But if
Lesser of two evils, debatable, but possibly.
If this group that we're talking about exists, Hillary and Donald were both well and truly under their thumbs. And this isn't just something we...
Oh, no, I think they probably had... but they choose two candidates, and whoever gets in, they win either way. So it's an illusion of choice.
And a local common denominator with that argument to say that something is Epstein. Epstein was involved in both of these people and potentially had dirt on both of them. And then they're the two candidates. But I think you've said to me before that if you want to get somebody under your thumb, if you're an evil cabal and you want to control somebody, you need to have something on them. But there's lots of things you can have on somebody that they can come back from. They say, "Oh well, you took drugs." Anybody would almost you don't say, "Well, yes, I did take drugs."
Recovering drug addicts.
Yeah,
I'm fine now.
I'm now going to advocate against anti-drugs policies, and I'm going to make this my passion because I was weak, but now I'm strong. Yeah,
donate to it.
You can't come back from having sex with a child.
No,
there's no way
in society today, you can't come back from that.
Yeah,
no,
you can't say, I was a paedophile, but I'm better now.
Even people that are wrongfully accused then have a very hard time putting their lives back together after they've...
Since the Jimmy Savile thing in the UK, we've had how many celebrities have been accused, and some of them have then been proved to be innocent. But that's going to follow them for the rest of their lives.
Killed the careers off. Yeah, totally.
And everybody will always say, "Oh well, he's found innocent, wasn't he?" But something right about that guy. They're
always linking back to that.
That is the one stain that always sticks. It's the one accusation that always sticks. Somebody will always believe it. And that's what I mean. That's what they've got over, allegedly, got over Trump, and they had over Bill, and God knows who else.
Yes.
You can't come back from that. And after Obama, who I suspect probably wasn't involved in this, but maybe I just want to believe he wasn't, but he possibly wasn't under their thumb, even though he did a lot of drone striking, to be fair. We'll go into that another time. But maybe that's why they hedged their bets and they made sure that the two... Maybe that's how Trump was able to get on the card in the first place, because this cabal wanted to be absolutely certain that the next person in was going to be one of their men.
Yeah.
So it was definitely going to be Hillary or Trump and nobody else. Bernie or all these other people, they had no chance because these people didn't want him. Exactly.
Follow the money trail. It leads to the criminal. Yeah. That's why when governments...
I always say that.
That's why when the media comes on the television and tells you the financing of this terrorist event is of little or no significance, you go, they're lying to me.
Yeah, because that is money. Money is the... Yeah, they always say, in court and everything, they say they follow the money. In any sort of criminal murder, they always say, where's the money? If you follow the money, you'll find out the answer. Mm-hmm. And that is more true on the sort of scale we're talking about. And why I think Epstein had to be murdered, Jeff, because he knew about the money.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's probably his knowledge of the movement of money, combined with also the sex trafficking of underage women.
I think,
and if he was heavily involved in that, but he could have been more heavily involved in that than you think. He could have been providing them to all of the elite. He could have been running the show, couldn't he? Or if he wasn't running the show, and he was only one operative, and there was many of these people doing the same thing, and finding underage women to traffic for the elite sex games. We've only hit the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
There could be a lot more to come. I suspect his death, though.
There isn't, because he's dead.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah, I suspect this is to tie it all off here rather than let it go up the tree.
There have been images as well of fires on his island since. The unexplained smoke. There's been, like I say, there's underground facilities potentially at his property that we'll never see. I imagine his island will probably be seized by the federal government and will never be, nobody will ever step foot in there again.
Proceeds of Crime Act, probably, I imagine.
Yeah, and they'll go in with bulldozers.
What the Americans have instead.
And that this
I don't know though, because they can't though. Well, could they go in and seize his island? They don't have any jurisdiction, surely.
It's in the Virgin Islands, so they do. Yeah, it's American own it. So it is part of American.
It is part of the Virgin
Islands. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
they've got
it does come under Virgin. Yeah, it does come
Okay.
under his thing, and then they always get around these things anyway.
No, they probably would because it's a remote island. They just turn up. Nobody's there.
I also think the American government tends to just bully other governments, even if it was owned by another territory. The American government pretty much do what they want, don't they?
What makes me laugh when they go, there was Russian collusion involved to get Trump in power. And if there was, America's been interfering in foreign politics in probably a quarter of the world's countries since World War II.
Yeah.
So,
pot
kettle black?
When we were talking in previous episodes, we said America has 800 foreign bases around the world.
There's only 190 something countries. So it's got 4 times the amount of military bases than there are countries in the world.
And they complain about China invading, into the South China Sea. They just want to control the waters around their country, and America doesn't like it. They control the waters around all of the Pacific, across to the sort of the Atlantic Indian Ocean. the whole shebang. Right, okay then. So, Epstein.
Indeed.
Murdered, suicided, or
well, suicide is not a word. I'm going to say murdered to make
it
look
really
like
irritating.
suicide.
I've said suicided about 50 times in this video, waiting for you to get angry about it. And you finally did at the end. Get in. I've said it far more than I needed to. Every single time I've like, hope he breaks this time. I'd go with you. 90% that he was not that he was murdered.
10% chance.
I will give you the
10%.
But that 10%, I would still say that even if he did actually commit suicide, somebody was stood over him and allowed him, gave him the opportunity. Right?
Yes.
Basically, stood over him, going, "It's the end. You either kill yourself, or we will do it for you, and we will make sure everyone you ever loved is dead too, or we will ruin everyone."
Yeah, it's some kind of ultimatum. Yeah.
You kill yourself, or we'll make it far worse. There's too many things like the guards, the videos, the fact that he was taken off suicide watch in the first place. All these things. No. I always try to be even-handed with these things, and I would say there is almost zero chance that on those rare occasions I'm actually more sure that there was a conspiracy than you. I'm the conspiracy nut in this video. I'm absolutely certain but he was murdered or at very least given the opportunity to kill himself.
It's got the telltale signs of a hit, hasn't it?
Yeah. When enough, like we said earlier, when enough people are happy about it, you've got to start asking questions, and a lot of people are very happy about this. And that's where we're going to leave it.
Yeah.
So, thanks very much for watching, and
please like and subscribe.
Yep.
Back next week.
And if you know something you shouldn't know, don't commit suicide.
Bye.
Right, okay. Final time, I'm not doing it again. I then thought, because alright, I can use bits of that. I can't, we weren't recording! Right. Welcome to a Brief History Conspiracy Additional.
This week a topical episode on... Oh God, I keep going for Harvey Weinstein every time as the first go-to.
So Jeff. Let's do Jeff Weinstein.
No, Jeffrey Epstein. Or Epstein.
Creepy as fuck. No, that's sorry, I had to write it down because it's so creepy.
That is quite creepy. Don't get that out and start reading from it in the middle of the thing.
Shut up, mate. I'm very professional. Fuck
you. You can't bring... You literally just read...
I know I did. I don't do that! You can see the whole episode. Right, anyway, that's cut out.